Industry and government leaders meet in Taipei to discuss the choppy waters facing Taiwan's businesses in a volatile world. Nvidia's chief is touting the benefits of AI in a visit to China. Taiwan's military holds urban warfare exercises in major cities, part of the annual Hanguang drills. Plus,
云林地区我们有核给198个工作机会，工作津贴以每小时最低工资190元来核给，最高每个月会核发到28590元真。
A week after Typhoon Danas, people in central and southern Taiwan are still cleaning up, but some help is on the way. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Reece. Tariffs from the US, fluctuating currency exchange rates, and AI. Taiwan's business environment has grown turbulent in recent months as challenges mount for the country's entrepreneurs. Industry and government leaders gathered in Taipei to discuss these recent trends. Leslie Liao was there.
What to do in an ever-changing and volatile trade environment? That's what Taiwanese business leaders from all over the world are discussing at an economic forum here in Taipei. The country currently faces a growing number of business challenges, from U.S. President Donald Trump's potential tariff levies on Taiwanese goods to widely fluctuating currency exchange rates that have significant implications for the country's export-dependent economy. Businesses here are facing strong headwinds. So it's no surprise that tariffs and exchange rates took center stage at this forum. Beyond that, though, was a discussion about AI and leveraging Taiwan's tech prowess to maintain a competitive edge. One of Wednesday's speakers was the chair of Taiwan's External Trade Development Council and former Foreign Minister James Huang.
就算川普2.0，我相信这个对台商企业来讲，这个也不是一个我们不能面对的这个挑战，而且说不定我们在川普2.0的时候，还能够把台湾推向一个更高峰，创造另外一个经济奇迹。
These external challenges come at a time when internal divisions are dominating the country's political landscape as well. Next weekend, 24 lawmakers from Taiwan's main opposition Kuomintang will face recall votes. Campaigns for and against the recalls are sowing deep divisions among the public. But new Taipei City Mayor Hou You-yi of the KMT called for unity in the interest of the economy here at the forum.
尤其在现阶段，在大罢免的时刻，我觉得台湾应该放下左右时的对立的冲突，好好的把经济搞好。台湾唯有经济才是最重要的一条路，唯有顾好民生、照顾人民的生活，才是我们该走的路。
The forum will go on for the next 3 days. The hope is that with so many enterprising minds from all around the world in the same space, they can find some clarity moving forward in a tumultuous world. Scott Huang and Leslie Liao in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwanese officials faced tough questions in the legislature earlier on Wednesday over how prepared the country is for Trump's looming tariffs. Ayers reports.
A grilling in the legislatures as officials from across the government answers questions about how prepared Taiwan is for Trump's looming tariffs. High-ranking officials from various government agencies, including the Foreign Affairs and Finance Ministries, gathered to discuss the ongoing trade talks with the U.S. and the possible impacts more Trump tariffs could have on Taiwan. Regarding the negotiations, officials didn't have much to say, explaining they want to keep their cards close to their chest. Taiwan has yet to reach a deal, but has also yet to receive one of Trump's letters announcing new rates. The deputy trade rep says they are still hoping to strike a deal.
那接下来后续我们大概什么时候可以预计有个大概结果？
所以我们现在不论我们拿到的税率，我们现在当然没有收到关税信函，但是不论有没有收到，我觉得我们到8月1号以前努力谈判就是我们的重点。
Deals already made with other countries have some lawmakers worried that Taiwan could settle for something similar, like the one between the U.S. and Indonesia, which will see 19% levies on Indonesia's imports into the U.S., but none the other way around.
这个代价你觉得高不高？
很高，
很高。 台湾的代价会这么高吗？不知道。
我们希望这是一个我们整个总体经济转型的一部分了。我们也之前也说到的是说，我们希望这是一个优化我国的这个经贸体制的一个契机。
There were plenty of diplomatic responses just like that one from the Deputy Foreign Minister there, but no real answers about where things are now or where they are going. Naturally, negotiations are taking place behind closed doors. In terms of preparations, the legislature recently passed a special budget to help Taiwan deal with any potential tariff fallout, including a controversial plan to hand hard cash back to the people, though that budget has yet to receive presidential approval. Despite a lack of details, economists say Taiwan could be in a favorable position compared to similar economies like South Korea and Japan, who have already received letters from Trump, as Taiwan continues to show good faith in trade talks. IT, Patrick Chen and Klein Wan for TaiwanPlus.
More on tariffs. Trump says a deal with Indonesia is set and another one with Vietnam is nearly finished. But as the August 1st deadline to settle the levies nears, Washington's biggest trading partner, the EU, is warning it's ready to retaliate if talks fail. John Van Trieste reports.
Donald Trump seems bullish on tariff talks lately. The U.S. president says he has a couple more deals under his belt. He's keeping the final details of a trade deal with Vietnam to himself for now. But he has shared what his administration's agreed to with Indonesia and said more deals are possible soon.
They are going to pay 19%, and we are going to pay nothing. I think it's a good deal for both parties, but we will have full access into Indonesia. And we have a couple of those deals that are going to be announced. India basically is working along that same line. We're going to have access into India.
It's not the 90 deals in 90 days he'd earlier promised. Besides these ones, there's been an agreement with the United Kingdom and an interim one with China. Still, Trump says to expect more breakthroughs before an August 1st deadline his administration set.
We're working on probably 5 or 6. Of the 5 or 6, I'm not sure I really want to do them. You know, you want somebody that knows how to negotiate. But we'll probably have 2 or 3. You know, we insist on opening up the country, which is a big deal.
Which 5 or 6 could make a big difference, as tariffs on some of the biggest U.S. trade partners like Canada, Mexico, and the European Union are still up in the air. And all have in one way or another pledged to protect their own workers. Mexico and the EU in particular look ready to fight back. Mexico's president had this to say Wednesday.
Nosotros recuerden que tenemos una mesa de aquí al 1 de agosto y esperamos llegar a un acuerdo, incluido el tema del jitomate. Si el 1 de agosto no se llega al acuerdo, pues ya estaremos informando algunas otras acciones.
And Germany's chancellor said that while Europe's willing to hold back for now, it's ready to respond if need be.
Ich habe über das Wochenende mit dafür geworben, dass wir jetzt keine reziproken Zölle in Kraft setzen. Das hätte sonst automatisch schon am gestrigen Tage stattfinden können. Aber bitte, die amerikanische Regierung soll auch nicht unsere Bereitschaft unterschätzen, auf übermäßig hohe Zollbelastungen mit ähnlichen Maßnahmen auch zu reagieren.
And compared to a trade war with countries like Indonesia, not even in the top 15 U.S. trade partners, a trade war with the likes of Mexico and the EU could do real damage. Talks continue, but with barely 2 weeks until the August 1st deadline, big economic waves could be just around the corner. Ethan Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has said again that his government opposes any change to the status quo in the Taiwan Strait.
What we do is continue to support a one-China policy. We support the status quo. By definition, we don't support any unilateral action on Taiwan. That's been our position for a long period of time.
It's the second time Albanese has made such comments on his 6-day visit to China, his country's top trading partner. It comes after the Financial Times reported that the US has been pressing Australia to clarify what it would do if the US and China went to war over Taiwan. Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang has praised China's open source AI industry during a visit to Beijing.
China's open source AI is a catalyst for global progress, giving every country and industry a chance to join the AI revolution.
Huang is in China meeting with business and political leaders. His visit comes as the company announced the US government will allow sales of Nvidia's H20 AI chip in China. That's despite a previous ban on China getting advanced AI chips under US export controls. Open source AI models from Chinese companies like DeepSeek and Moonshot have shown strong performance at low costs, but some have expressed data privacy and security concerns. For more on the H20's comeback in China, reporter Chris Gorin spoke to Marco Mezga of the Neumonde Technology Group.
Nvidia says that the US government has changed course and will now allow them to sell their H20 AI chip in China, more or less reversing a previous ban on those chips being exported to China. Were you surprised to hear about this reversal?
Yeah, it was an interesting move, and I think, of course, initiated by Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia. Yes, I was surprised, but actually not too much. But in reality, if you look at the practicality of this solution, it makes, from my point of view, really sense to open this up, not only for Nvidia, but for AMD also, and for other Western companies, because the market is extremely big. And Jensen Huang is not a politician or a party member. He's a businessman. He has stakeholders, he has shareholders, and he needs to have a story that he is continue to thrive.
Yeah, and let's just remind the audience, what exactly is the H20 chip and why is it so important to US-China AI competition?
Okay, the H20 is kind of a restricted chip version of the newest Nvidia chips. So this means they have not so much bandwidth, not so much teraflops power. And in this regards, they are not like the full high-end chips, what you see, which go to Meta, Google, Facebook, or to other companies in the Western world. They are similar to some of the China competitors. And I give you an idea about the market, what is expected in China. I think Jensen Huang just recently mentioned this also. He expects the market to be for chips, AI chips in China in 2026, around about $50 billion. And I think for them, it's also like an opportunity with their software system to have good control of the whole supply chain and keep the opportunities in China alive. And by the way, it's not only Nvidia, also AMD is a beneficiary of this new regulation which just came out recently.
And how might this affect Taiwan's semiconductor industry? The H20 and maybe some of these AMD chips are made by TSMC, right?
Yes. I think TSMC is the largest supplier of Nvidia for this chip. And, you know, the whole ecosystem in Taiwan is thriving because of this, right? So TSMC revenue continuously go up. They are a big beneficiary. But in reality, if you look from a perspective of revenue growth and new loan dynamics, there is another interesting segment in Taiwan, which is growing very strong. So these are the companies like Vivin, Wistron, Compal, Ayers. So these are companies who are building these whole systems together for global data centers. Yeah? So I think for Taiwan, of course, it's from a pure commercial point of view, it's a good aspect because there's more revenue, more foundry services needed in order to serve more global markets for AI.
That was Marco Mezga of Neumonde Technology Group. Taiwan is seeing a spike in Chinese military activity as it holds its largest annual military exercise. On Wednesday morning, the Defense Ministry says it detected 38 Chinese military aircraft operating near the country. 28 of those aircraft entered Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ. This area isn't Taiwan's airspace, but acts as a buffer zone for defensive purposes. The ministry says it monitored the situation. The military has been in and out of some of the country's major cities as it conducts urban warfare exercises, part of the annual Hanguang drills. Jaime Ocon has this update.
A quick pit stop for these soldiers in northern Taiwan as they conduct maintenance on a tank. It might not be the flashiest of drills, but it's skills like these that will make the difference in a combat scenario. A lot of these drills are making use of public spaces like temples and schools to gather and store munitions. This high school in northern Taiwan is serving as a mini base for soldiers in Taoyuan.
那我们孩子可以感受到更多的这个国家认同以及国家安全的重要性哦。那这是我们桃园高中在为国防安全能够尽的一份力。
This is day 8 of Taiwan's largest ever military exercises, known as the Hanguang, which simulates how the country would defend against a full-scale attack from China. Hanguang ends on Friday, and the final few days will focus on an attack deep inland, simulating the worst-case scenario, an enemy landing and making inroads into Taiwan. That's why analysts say having a backup plan is crucial for the country's defense.
这周边的区域构筑了逐次防御的阵地，也预化了一个歼敌的区域，来引诱敌人进入我们预想的阵地，来进行集火射击。
Whether it's late-night urban warfare, coastal defense, or protecting critical infrastructure, Taiwan's military is making sure it has everything covered to prevent, or if necessary, repel a possible attack. Andy Xue, Alan Liu, and Jaime Ocon for TaiwanPlus.
It's been over a week since Typhoon Danas hit Taiwan, killing 2 and causing severe damage across Taiwan's central and southern west coast. But as the government estimates losses to be in the billions, efforts to rebuild are already underway. Izzy Wells has more.
In Tainan, pomelo farmers and alternative service conscripts scramble to recover what they can of one of the crops hardest hit by Typhoon Danas. Government estimates of agricultural losses from the storm have climbed to nearly $95 million across Taiwan. It's left the country's south in particular reeling as residents embark on the long road to recovery.
最主要的工作当然是协助我们这次损失最惨重的柚子剪植入圃还有清扫环境这部分。
Tainan City has suffered the most, with damage estimated at over $30 million, followed by Jiayi County, which has seen around $24 million in losses. And as the cleanup operation continues, the Interior Minister has announced disaster relief funds, ranging from $850 to $3,400 for affected households in disaster areas. While the funds await the Cabinet's approval, the Labour Ministry is kickstarting a temporary work programme for over 1,700 local residents in Yunling, Jiayi and Tainan to help with recovery efforts.
云林地区我们有核给198个工作机会，工作津贴以每小时最低工资190元来核给，最高每个月会核发到28590元整。
And while it's been all hands on deck for both residents and emergency repair workers, Typhoon Danas's departure wasn't the final tragedy in the south. On Tuesday, a Taipower employee was electrocuted while working to restore power to households in Jiayi County. Now on life support, he was visited by President Lai Ching-te on Thursday. The government wished him a speedy recovery.
没有电，大家没有办法过日子，但是我们的这个台电的同仁都非常的辛苦，大家也看得到了。现在大家都是希望让他可以早日康复。
As residents clear debris and repair crews work around the clock, the toll of Typhoon Danas continues to surface. With lives disrupted and recovery only just beginning, the storm leaves behind not just physical damage, but a lasting test of resilience for communities across southern Taiwan. Howard Chang and Izzy Wells for TaiwanPlus.
Priority seats on Taiwan's public transportation will soon be open to anyone with needs. The legislature has passed an amendment that expands on the current target groups for those seats: disabled people, older passengers, women and children. The amendment also changes the priority seat's Chinese name from the original Bo'ai, which means benevolence, to Youxian, which means priority, and matches the English translation. Passengers can expect the new signage on buses and metro trains by the end of 2025. Prosecutors in Taipei are investigating a university women's soccer coach over allegations she pressured student athletes to donate blood for a study. It comes after lawmakers slammed an education ministry decision to suspend the coach for 2 years, calling the punishment too light. She had reportedly threatened to withhold credits, kick students off the team, or delay their graduation if they did not participate in the study. The Education Ministry has also fined the leaders of the study around $17,000 each and banned them from applying for government research grants for 1 year. Collecting blood for research purposes is illegal in Taiwan. Wednesday marks 80 years since the world's first test of a nuclear bomb. As people in Taiwan practice taking cover in air raid shelters during the annual Hangguang exercises, the country and the world continue to live in the shadow of Trinity's mushroom cloud. Bryn Thomas reports.
On July 16, 1945, a blinding flash lit up the sky over New Mexico, visible for miles. Its shockwave still reverberates around the world today.
From this observation tower, scientists watch the result of their years of work. Miles into the air rises the giant shape of the now historic explosion.
The Trinity test, the fruit of a top-secret Manhattan project, was the world's first nuclear blast, but it would not be the last. Less than a month later, the U.S. would drop a smaller atomic bomb on Japan.
One bomb exploding 1,500 feet above the target, leaving no crater. 500,000 people lived in Hiroshima, a town the size of Sheffield. Here and there, an isolated structure reminds the onlooker that here was once a city.
140,000 people died at Hiroshima, vaporized or burned alive, or later dying from the effects of radiation. 3 days later, the bombings of Nagasaki killed 70,000 more. The attacks at the end of World War II marked the start of an 80-year arms race that still shapes global security today.
The houses actually burn before the following blast brings disintegration.
Early nuclear weapons were essentially carefully timed mechanical devices, like world-ending mousetraps. After the Manhattan Project, the real challenge wasn't the science but the fuel. After all, the Manhattan Project built the Trinity bomb in wooden shacks in the desert, and it didn't take long for others to follow, in the race for ever deadlier weapons of mass destruction.
A brilliance of 500 suns lights hundreds of miles of the Pacific, and the force of 1,000,000 tons of TNT is released. 15 seconds later, the light is still unbearable. Observers may well squint, for they may have witnessed a prelude to world destruction.
8 countries officially have nuclear weapons: the US, Russia, the UK, France, China, India, Pakistan, and most recently, North Korea. Israel is believed to have them, but has never officially confirmed it. China, which has long threatened to take Taiwan by force, tested its first nuclear bomb in the 1960s, pushing Taiwan to attempt developing its own bomb in the early 1970s. But the effort was ultimately halted under international pressure.
Meanwhile, the world asks, if this is the pinnacle of man's creative genius, then surely world peace is not beyond his reach.
80 years since the Trinity test, Taiwan is holding air raid drills as part of its annual Hangguang exercises. In the event of an attack, civilians are expected to take cover in shelters across the country. But against modern thermonuclear weapons, those shelters would offer little protection. If a bomb like the Trinity device were detonated over Taipei, it could level much of the city and kill nearly 200,000 people. By comparison, if one of China's Dongfeng 4 missiles hit the same spot, it could kill over 3 million. And if it were Russia's Tsar Bomba, the most powerful weapon ever detonated, the death toll could reach 6 million.
In seconds, the fireball erupts into a geyser that towers 25 miles into the stratosphere, spreading into a 100-mile-wide mushroom cloud.
Treaties and arms controls have helped reduce the threat of nuclear war, but we are by no means in the clear.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury, like the world has never seen.
Агрессию против России со стороны любого неядерного государства, но с участием или при поддержке ядерного государства предлагается рассматривать как их совместное нападение на Российскую Федерацию. Также четко фиксируются условия перехода России к применению ядерного оружия.
Since the start of 2025, there have been multiple conflicts involving nuclear-armed states and their allies. Fighting broke out between Pakistan and India. Russia's invasion of Ukraine is ongoing, and the U.S. has carried out bombing missions in Yemen and Iran, and Israel continues its war in Gaza. And with China stepping up preparations to invade Taiwan, another could be on the horizon. As humanity continues to balance on the tightrope it first stepped onto 80 years ago, it's unlikely we felt the last aftershocks of the Trinity test. John Su and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, have a look at Estonian athlete Jan Rose slacklining between a flying parasail and a motorboat in the Maldives. I'm Reece. Take care and see you next time.
For more stories from Taiwan and Expo 2025, visit TaiwanPlus.com.